I think World War II, the way it is studied in Mexico, is kind of incomplete in a sense. It is highlighted, it is a very important part of history, of world history as we know it, as I think it probably is in most parts of the world. Technically, Mexico was part of World War II, but by that I mean that we sent a squadron of 12 planes. Well, 12 pilots. The planes weren't even Mexican, they were American. And that was our whole involvement in the war. So we don't really focus on what Mexico did. I mean, we got into the war because Germany bombed some planes. I mean, they bombed some ships, I think, from the Navy. But we weren't really affected all that much by World War II. So it mostly focuses on like the causes and the effects of World War II, but it's not really deep or profound in a sense. Like, you hear about Hitler and Stalin and why the US got involved and blah blah blah, but you don't really go underneath that. You don't really get to understand the casualties and the intricacies of World War II, which is fair enough because it is middle school history. It's kind of rushed. It needs to go through an entire curriculum of like the entire history of both the world and Mexico within 3 years. But I also think that an aspect that isn't really highlighted is the Western Front. Like, I know a bit about World War II and Japan's involvement, but that's because I did my own research back in the day, not because of school. Japanese involvement in World War II is barely taught, other than the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Mexico. So you don't really get to know like why was Japan allied with Nazi Germany and fascist Italy? What did they do? What was their involvement like? So I think that this could be an interesting way of not just of highlighting a really important aspect of World War II because Japan was a major player, but also what happens on another part of the world which isn't really highlighted in world history in Mexico. So I think Mexico had a lot of room for improvement in how it teaches World War II. Maybe it should go more in depth into like the battles and what's going on in the countries, like the inner movements and resistance, but also on the larger scale. I don't really think there's room for improvement within like the teaching of how Mexico was involved because, as I mentioned, we weren't really involved. But I think Mexican kids don't really know why Japan was in the war, and that can affect the way that we understand World War II.